1995 marked the first InfoAg conference and an explosion of precision ag information across the worldwide agricultural industry. And for the past 12 years, innovators and leaders in this effort have been honored by the PrecisionAg Institute.
What better way to start a conference than to hold up examples of exceptional work in the field of precision agriculture, individuals and organizations.
That's Paul Shrimp, group editor of Precision Ag Professional and CropLife magazine. Each year, InfoAg kicks off by honoring the Institute's Award of Excellence recipients. These industry, education, and farmer innovators are selected by their peers for this prestigious award. We interviewed the 2018 honorees right after the award ceremony.
This year is the 130th year anniversary of Sanborn Field on the campus there of University of Missouri. It's kind of strange because you got all these buildings and everything that have kind of grown up around this, it's about a 10-acre area there, maybe not quite that large, but of plots that were started back in 1888, and these are non-replicated plots, but the whole idea of these plots was to develop some of the ideas of conservation and rotation and fertility management. Then at that time it was mostly like with manures or without manures, and there are actually some of those plots that have been kept continuous and in those initial rotations or initial management for this whole time. For example, there's one plot that's a continuous corn with no fertility, and for 130 years, and of course the corn is only about 3 feet tall and is very, very yellow, and it doesn't hardly even put on any ears at all, but it's kind of to be able to see and contrast all those different management systems and how those have adapted over time. My dad was kind of a self-made scientist, more of an environmental scientist. He got degrees in animal husbandry. We don't use that word very often anymore, but animal husbandry at Utah State, and he kind of took us with him when he would go out and do water quality measurements or forage measurements. Looking at, in his case, he was working for a steel plant, measuring fluoride deposition on rangeland or on pastures, and the negative impact that was having on the cattle. A little bit of fluoride is good; it hardens bones and teeth. Too much fluoride is just the opposite; it softens bones and teeth. And so that association, that mentoring with Dad, kind of, this is really interesting, and seeing those connections between the environment and agricultural production. And so as I finished my undergraduate degree, I knew that I really wanted to continue to on that trail of discovery and wanted to do research. So at Colorado State, for my doctorate degree, we instituted some plots that were different management practices, different rotations, but these plots were long and narrow plots that started on a summit, went down a back slope, and down to a foot slope. So a katina, we sometimes use that word, of soils and different soil resource. And it was amazing, the interaction between the management and the soil resource, which obviously led you to realize that we can't manage landscapes similarly. You have to do something different to target. And so those basic principles of precision agriculture were kind of instilled in me in my thinking in those years of study at Colorado State, so back in the mid-90s. Those producers out there making decisions, they want decisions. They don't want it to be so complicated that it's difficult to do those decisions, but I do think they also want legitimate science that goes into all of that black box, of that decision making. They don't want it to be just a marketing. I've come to learn that the farmers out there on their tractors and their combines, those are some of the best agronomists we have. They're pulling in so much information using their own senses, and they're looking at what causes this, what happens there, and they're doing that type of thing already. And so if they can't connect their personal experience with the information that's coming to them in terms of a decision, of a bunch of information in a black box, so to speak, then they're going to be skeptical. So it has to make sense with their own agronomic savvy that they have, and their understanding of the soils and the crops and how they would manage that. And if that is integrated in a way that it matches with their experience, then I think that they're going to buy into it, and they're going to love it, and they're going to appreciate it and adopt it more completely in the future.
For more information about the Precision Ag Institute, visit precisionag.com/institute.